All right, welcome back everybody. Today we're going to be discussing Telcoin. This is a brand new coin that I have not discussed on the channel yet, so I'm really excited. Seeing a lot of opportunity here, so we're going to be talking about chart patterns, price predictions, and then some recent bullish news. So let's hop right in. Here we have the daily Telcoin chart. We have the 50, 100, and 200-day moving averages printed up on there. And we're going to start just by kind of reviewing how we got here and then looking at a few chart patterns to begin. So obviously back in April, we had this kind of huge parabolic run up, and then we kind of, retreated pretty solidly here from our all-time high back in May all the way down almost 90% to our low in late July. But the first thing I want to point out here that I've been noticing is that we're forming a bullish pattern called a pennant here. So on the daily, I've been kind of noticing that this chart pattern has just been slowly forming over time. More often than not, this tends to be a bullish chart pattern. It's not always bullish, but if we zoom out here a little bit and just get a look at it, typically these lines are going to extend a little bit more. And the idea is you see a bullish continuation pattern here, but mostly filled with consolidation pattern. So kind of like this, like you see up and down, volume stays pretty consistent. Volume stays pretty consistent here as well. And the idea is once you've kind of consolidated and have established higher highs and higher lows, eventually once you get to the end of this wedge, this pennant, eventually you're going to break out. So that's kind of the idea there. I'm seeing that on the daily formation, so that's more of a long-term chart pattern. If you know me on this channel, like I always like to go for long-term plays. So this is definitely something to keep in mind, that we're forming that pennant on the longer term outlook. So diving in here, getting a little bit more granular, let's just look at the last few months or so. So all the way from July to present day, like I said, we've kind of been forming this bullish continuation pattern. We've been staying, within these levels pretty consistently. You could even make the case for a bullish rectangle there. But what I want you to notice too is how these moving averages are flowing. So when the 50-day, which is this aquamarine line, when that broke above the 50-day and the 100 and 200-day moving averages, we saw this parabolic run up. Then when we finally dropped down below both of them here, we saw this kind of, bottom out here on this low, and we saw it drop below that 100-day moving average. But what I want you to notice right now is that for the very first time, in the last couple months, we're trying to break, this 50-day moving average is trying to break back above that 100-day moving average right here, if you can see that. So that's going to be a critical thing to watch. If we do break above that, maybe we bounce off this trend line quicker and move to the upside a little bit faster. But obviously nothing is guaranteed in the world of crypto. But that's what I'm seeing right now. In terms of the daily candle chart, we're seeing really, really impressive consolidation, really impressive long-term volume trends here. And now we're kind of just waiting to see what happens in the coming weeks. So really, really quickly, I want to break out a retracement and just look at some key price levels right here, because assuming we do end up breaking out, we want to look at what key levels you should be looking at when you're actually looking at your brokerage account. So let's pull up some of these fibs right here. Bear with me. So really what we're looking for, and if you've been following Telcoin for a bit here, we have been playing within this kind of box here. I don't know if you can kind of see it right here. We've been playing within this box for quite a while now, that dropped down below, but for a few weeks. And so really what we need to happen here in the short term, and when I mean short term, I'm talking about the next couple weeks, specifically with altcoins, we need Telcoin to convincingly break above this 2.5-ish cent level. That is huge. So if we can stand on top of this, and what I mean by that is, a few 4-hour, maybe even a couple dailies actually closing on this. If we stay on top of this and start forming, let's say a new kind of window here, that's when things start to get more bullish. And then as you can see, that bullish continuation pattern would continue if that were to be our kind of next couple weeks as they play out. So short term, we're looking for just over 2 cents. We need that to lock in and hold. We need to sit on top of here for a couple days. And then we're going to look to break that 3.5 cent figure. So really, it's the game of a couple cents. It's sitting on top of this and then sitting on top of this. And that's when things can start to go crazy. So the two levels you need to watch in the short term to the upside are just over 2 cents, 2.2-ish cents. And then the other key level to the upside would be around 3.5, just over 3.5 cents. And then to the downside, the next level we'll likely check is going to be this kind of 1.3 cent level. So if we do end up, not being able to stay within this window and we drop back down here, I would say we probably check this first. And then if we can't hold that, we might drop down short term to just below 1 cent. So that's kind of what I'm seeing for short-term price analysis and chart patterns. But let's get into some more kind of concrete price predictions and kind of look at the chart a little bit more granularly. So for that, I want to come over to the 4-hour chart. And here, you're going to see the similar pattern. You're going to see this kind of very repetitive consolidation where we kind of slowly fall to the downside and then break out. And what we're actually seeing with that, and I'm sure a lot of you who look at patterns quite often may see this too, we're seeing a couple falling wedges form here, and it's been a pretty repetitive pattern. This one's not going to be the prettiest wedge, but it is, you can make the case for it regardless. But typically a falling wedge, if you're familiar with TA, typically this is a bullish pattern. It's not always bullish, but it's something to keep in mind. So we're seeing, consistent falling wedges coming off of these kind of week or so consolidation patterns. But what I also want to point out here is the fact that we could be looking at, the final kind of stage of our breakout here. So before I kind of explain it on this chart, I just want to kind of elaborate on what I'm talking about here. So if we kind of take just a huge macro look at this chart, it's kind of easy to say, hey, this this chart print looks very, very similar to this chart print. And you can see what happened right after that. And that's also with the 50-day being above both the 100 and 200-day. So I'm really, really bullish on this. I don't know if it's going to break out in the next week or two, but I think it is really, really due for a breakout. It's a very, very bullish looking chart. But I kind of want to get into where we could be going here, short term and then long term as well. So let's hop into a couple of price predictions really fast. Get this extension up. Okay. So as we talked before, here is that, just over 2 cent key fib level. A couple things I want to note here. Just above that all-time, or just above this high, so we talked about how that 3.5 cent level was really, really key. The next level we're going to be looking at is just between 4 cents and about 5.5 cents. So here, when you finally see that breakout from Telcoin on your exchange, and you're all excited, you see us get above this 3.5-ish cent level, and I kind of misdrew this fib. It should be up here, but that's all right. When we're looking at this kind of key level right here, if you see us break above this, watch very, very closely for a breakout above 4 cents, and then for us to hover between 4.5 cents and 5.5 cents. So that'd be up here. So short term, look for that. And like I said, we're hopefully looking for in the next couple weeks to a month for that to happen. All depends on how Bitcoin behaves and depends on news coming out about Telcoin as well. And the last thing I wanted to note on this particular chart, look what happened again. If we're going to pay attention here to the moving averages, take away this fib for a second. Look what happened here when the 50 dipped below both the 100-day here and the 200-day here. Look what happened immediately. I mean, this is like 8 hours after, because it's the 4-hour chart. So 8 to 12 hours after, we saw this huge move up. And that's something that I'm seeing right now on this chart. So if you just look right here, literally yesterday morning this happened. We actually dip below, we confirm within basically the same day, we dip below the 100 day, and then we dip below the 200 day. So the last time that happened, we did have this kind of parabolic move to the upside. Now the question is, do we get rejected on that move, or do we come up, sit on that previous high, and then move again? And that's really the question in the short term. But the way that the moving averages are looking, the way that the chart patterns are looking, and the amount of consolidation we've had from, you know, our low in July to now is just crazy. I can't help but be bullish on this chart. It's just, you know, screaming, objectively, it's screaming bullish patterns. So I'm really, really excited. But getting into kind of the meat of the long-term prediction, let's kind of address that. What I want to notice, or sorry, what I want to point out here, excuse me, really, really quickly is, and sorry for that again, I don't know why that's happening. What I want to point out here really, really quickly is that last time we kind of, and we talked about how this print is kind of the same. So this fractal is kind of the same to, pretty similar to this fractal. And so how we just talked about that, right? Keep that in the back of your mind. But when we kind of had this parabolic move from this low where we bounced off that 100-day moving average, this was about a 14x, 14.5x, give or take, right? So we need to kind of keep our predictions within the realm of possibility going off that number, right? So if we were to say, you know, we're gonna 14x from the low before the fractal printed, which is right here, if we're gonna copy it, a 14.5x from here would put us right around 26 cents. I don't know if we're gonna get there. Obviously, a lot depends on news coming out about Telcoin, exchange listings. We're gonna get into that in a moment with the bullish news, but there's a lot depending on that. But I think in terms of a long-term realistic prediction, you know, I think I always like to go a little bit more conservative, as you guys know. So I think for, you know, Telcoin, anything between, you know, 15 cents and 30 cents. Obviously, it's a huge range, but there's a lot of ifs with Telcoin, and we're going to get into that, but bad drawing. But between 15 and 30 cents, I think is, you know, a reasonable long-term prediction range. You know, I have seen people saying, hey, we're just going to go absolutely parabolic and get closer to 50 cents. You know, again, this is more so based on the technical analysis. I can only kind of go off what I'm seeing off the chart, and I'm trying to bring as little of bias to my predictions as possible. So now that we've kind of gone over that, again, to review my kind of short-term price prediction, we're going to want to, of course, break above 3.6 cents, sit here, and then look between 4 cents and 5 cents. And if we sit up there, obviously it's looking really, really bullish. Long term, we want to see, you know, hopefully, fingers crossed, we want to see something between 15 cents and 30 cents. And that's kind of our ultimate goal. So after that, after this, you know, obviously thank you for watching through the predictions. We're going to hop into some recent news about Telcoin and just dive through that really quickly. First off, they've been building a large community. They have a ton of loyal followers. I've been in some of their AMAs and spaces. They built a really solid following on Twitter, Instagram. I believe they have a Telegram too, but something to point out there. And the other thing too is that they do kind of these, you know, community updates every so often, usually once a month. But I didn't realize just how much they're expanding their offerings, you know, expanding these departments and looking to launch in a bunch of these other locations. So Singapore, Australia, Mexico, Philippines, and they're looking to expand their product offering. So they're not looking just to be a wallet or a fintech service to send money. They're looking to be a lot more. So that's definitely really exciting. And the last thing I wanted to touch on is the fact that they are about to release an additional update to their wallet. So they've been kind of slowly updating this TEL wallet from V2 to V3. It's going to bring a lot of bridging functionalities, a lot of, you know, easier swapping functionalities, and exchange functionalities that users have requested. So that should bring some, you know, bullish energy into the price action as well. The one thing I wanted to touch on around listings is that a lot of coins that we cover on this channel, so like VRA, MTV, a lot of them have a lot of hype around them about listings coming up, about you know, potential teasers or leaks. Telcoin is honestly the opposite from what I can tell. So it sounds like, first of all, that I don't hear any rumors about exchanges. Second of all, I've actually heard rumors, at least, around the Twitter sphere, around the research I've done, that they're actually not focusing on listings. And that could be a catch-22. I don't really know exactly what their strategy is there. Definitely something to consider, because a lot of what gets these altcoins to pump parabolically like this is exchange listings. So definitely keep that in mind when you're looking at Telcoin. But that's kind of the last piece I wanted to touch on. Went a little bit long on this video, but hopefully it gave you guys value. Just kind of wanted to do a full rundown of what I'm seeing. Let me know in the comments if there's any other projects you want me to cover. And excuse me, the last thing I wanted to touch on was I do have that chart pattern guide that just recently came out. Thank you guys for joining the waitlist, and then obviously giving me the feedback on that so far. It's been great, and I just love helping all you guys out. So thank you for the support and the love, and thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Appreciate you.